Emily Dickinson once wrote that hope is the thing with feathers. But what happens when hope manifests as grief instead? Well, in the new film, The Thing with Feathers, Benedict Cumberbatch and writer-director Dylan Southern tackled this question head-on. Prime anchor Linsey Davis got the chance to sit down with them, but before we hear from them, let's take a look.
I don't want her turned into a series of anecdotes because it just reminds me that she's gone.
But she is gone.
Yeah, but if I'm lucky once or twice a week, I think she's going to be back in a minute. She's going to be back.
Dylan, Benedict, thank you both so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
So let's talk about, obviously it's a highly acclaimed novel, The Thing with Feathers. What made you all decide, one, that you wanted to adapt it and become a movie, but Benedict, that you wanted to be a part of it?
I think it's a similar story to Dylan's in the sense that when I first read the book, it was immediately very pictorial, cinematic, and kind of had a scale to it that I could imagine being film. However, I didn't immediately think, oh, that's adaptable. I mean, it's so fantastical and extreme in its poeticism and breadth. But at the same time, very often when I read a book, I'm casting it or seeing a shot or just imagining it as a piece of drama. And 10 years went by whilst this man was actually picking up the heavy load of doing the impossible and adapting it.
10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, the book came out in 2015 and I was given a copy by my friend, not thinking that I would make it into a film. He just knew my taste in books and said, you'll really like this, and I read it. I was kind of blown away by what Max managed to do on the page, and I sort of set about trying to get hold of Max and meeting him and persuading him to give me, a filmmaker who hadn't yet made a dramatic feature, the rights to the book, which he did. And then it was the process of being a first-time filmmaker and finding the right people who would support me to make the film.
And Benedict, you've described it before as an odd job, really, co-starring opposite of a giant crow.
Yeah.
What made you able to even visualize and see that leap before it was together?
No, I guess the usual thing of imagining a reality that isn't there. And there's a lot of this which is very sort of finely attuned psychological truth and nuanced drama around the sort of verite of grief, of what that is, how it takes hold of your body and your emotional landscape, your response to it. And at the same time, I was on set with two extraordinary boys, the Boxall brothers, who were new to acting, and an amazing Lecoq-trained mime artist and physical actor, Eric, who was in this crow costume with an animatronic head that made quite a lot of noise, as well as him underneath it doing a pretty decent David Thewlis impression, but still not David Thewlis. And yeah, there were lots of elements that were not there that had to be there. I kind of get used to that from the Marvel work, I guess I do. Mm-hmm. But in that world, it's more fantastical all round, whereas this, I was trying to hold on to something that was very naturalistic in amongst all these elements that were, yes, very artificial in a way.
You all mentioned the boys, they were 7 years old, Richard and Henry, at the time that you shot the film.
Yeah.
What did that bring? I mean, they do a fantastic job themselves.
Well, we did a huge casting call and we saw so many kids, and a lot of them, had went to drama school or had been trained, and the thing that Henry and Richard had is they were just Henry and Richards. And as soon as I found a video the other day from one of the early casting sessions, and the boys were all doing exercises, and I should have been filming the two boys that were doing the exercise at that point, but my camera just kept drifting back to Richard and Henry watching, and there's just something so mesmerizing about them. And they'd never acted before, and we had to accommodate that on set. Benedict was incredible with them in terms of kind of showing them what it means to be someone else on camera. So it was just adapting the directing approach to suit the minds of two really funny young 7-year-olds who had a wicked sense of humour and made the set an amazing place to be every day.
They really did. And when you're working with something as raw as their truth, it's like capturing lightning in a jar, and when you've got it, you can't really better it.
Of course, your character, we meet him, he's really at the lowest low for a father, and now a single dad, and at the same time, he's swallowed by grief, but trying to keep the same sentiment of regular, everyday routine for his children.
Yeah.
Give us a sense of what you hope, what you take away from it, and what you hope viewers will take away from the movie as well.
Well, I think the responses we've had, despite the sort of the metaphor used, which seems so extreme and unique, it's a very universal experience, grief. Hopefully what we've done with the film is provide a singular experience with this character, but it does speak universally to what that inevitability of being a human being is. It comes to all of us in our life. And I think there's hope in it, and it is a story of salvation in the sense that especially through the love that this unit have for one another, how the children proffer their love and give him strength in unexpected moments, but also how through the chaos of being out of control, it's also all right to look at this and understand that we aren't in control of our emotions. It's all right to feel unwell, to feel chaotically lost in something that is at times just too overwhelming to be orderly with, and that's all right to be tolerant of that and understand it's part of the human condition. So it's both giving permission for people to say, yes, no, grief is a mess. It's difficult and it's constant. And also to feel that there is hopefully some salvation in learning to live with it by the end.
Dylan, Benedict, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Our thanks to Linsey. You can watch Benedict Cumberbatch in The Thing with Feathers beginning Friday in theaters nationwide.